ski trip.
I love the ski trips. That was part of my DNA, man.
Everybody, every Thursday night in the goddamn middle school.
My first season since middle school that I haven't skied.
Ski trip.
That's a lot of years consecutively skiing that I'm breaking.
That is a lot of years. I kind of gave up going snowboarding. Like,
I love it.
Once I started having jobs, I was just like, I'm not going up.
I always made time for it. It was like golf.
When I was in high school, I used to always.
You vacationed on it. You spent money to go in the cold.
Spent so much money skiing. Like it's outrageous.
We should go out west though. That'd be fun.
Oh, I've been out west several times.
I've never been out there.
No, he goes to Colorado and he pays to go lose digits.
No, let's go do that. Hey, I would go on a trip.
Let's go.
Hell,
it's not too late.
I don't mind.
It's not.
It's like in California, they just got dumped
California's
on.
getting hammered.
I could ski in the May probably in California, and I have a friend out there that's like basically letting me couch surf if I want to go out there.
Nice.
So like if I get mad enough domestically, I mean I could just be like, fuck it, I'm leaving for the week. I'll be back
Alec
on
domestically
Friday.
angry.
Yeah.
What does that mean? When you get mad domestically, you don't go homicidal or anything, do you?
No, it's just you get frustrated with your home life and you just go on some random trip that nobody can really stop you because I'm 32 and I can do what I want.
So he's Jeffrey Dahmer driving up and down in California.
Like I'm just gonna buy a plane ticket tomorrow and leave and go ski in California, see on Friday.
Yeah, but then you'd be bailing your kid. You'd be bailing on your kid.
Well, that's why you're not supposed to do it. But if
What are
I
we
get
gonna
mad
do?
enough, it could happen. It's like it probably won't, but it's always a possibility. So it's more of a money issue. But
okay, let's get through what was supposed
Is
to
there
be
something you wanted to talk about?
yeah,
did this turn into a therapy session? No.
You were busted for your.
I was busted for my cigarettes.
Dun, dun, dun.
Which is known.
Should you
whatever?
Does it not bother you the smell of smoke in your car?
Doesn't bother me.
No.
How often do you smoke in your car?
Like once a day.
Okay, yeah.
Like enough, I guess.
Enough
you
can smell that.
Pregnant wife can definitely smell it because they have the super nose, And then the argument is, it's like, I guess, this is where I wish it was the 80s sometimes, like people in the 80s are probably smoking with their
You could smoke on a
kids.
plane. They had ashtrays on planes.
And if you had an infant there, then that infant's going to be exposed to smoke. Like, I don't know. Like, it was totally different.
Do you
thing.
regret sending Shannon to the car to pick up?
Yes.
Now, do you think you could have done that?
She did it on purpose.
Okay.
She figured
out an excuse. Okay.
That was the other part.
She was going for evidence. She had a warrant.
She did.
She had a warrant.
She had a warrant.
She had a warrant.
Because I told her it was in the trunk, and then magically she finds my cigarettes in the passenger side door. Like how did you search the vehicle? Like
that says you get pulled over. I smell smoke. All right.
Yeah.
Everybody would tearing down the panels.
This was a broken promise I made to her with baby number one.
It's Lent too.
As I said,
it
is Lent.
Yes.
I shouldn't
You
be smoking at all.
You Satanist.
I didn't give anything up this year, but she wanted me to quit smoking, which is I feel like
you've been quitting smoking since you started.
Normal request, but see that we talk about. I don't really smoke. I'm not I smoke like 2 cigarettes a day.
You are that rare. Like when people,
I don't
think
abuse
Bobby,
it.
a casual smoker.
Yeah, like a very casual smoker, and it's even you only smoke. I only smoke when I drink. It's not even that. It's like I smoke a cigarette in the morning. Usually I smoke one sometime throughout the day, and that's it.
Treat it very similar to coffee.
Yeah, I have my 1 or 2, and it's like I was saying this before. It's almost to keep a tolerance up, because if you don't smoke at all, and then you go to smoke a cigarette, then you cough.
He starts throwing up.
Well, you can't do it anymore.
So it's just smoke a cigar and all of a sudden he's lightheaded.
It's I smoke. It's a little energy bump. It's a little I use it as a
just
craving,
to collect your thoughts.
Like a craving mechanism. You always said about the thoughts, and it is true.
It's a timeout. It's a mental timeout.
I smoked a cigarette the other day, and I forced myself not to look at my phone because that's always you go take a shit. Exactly. It's I just wanted to sit there and stare at the alley and just kind of like you said, collect my thoughts and just try to calm myself down and get ready for the day ahead. That's all. Okay. So I look at it as a therapeutic thing. The last time I cold turkey stopped, I gained 15 pounds because it was just
you eat.
It was a meal ender, and that was when I was smoking more too. So it was that was how I ended my meal. And it's like it could be done with a piece of cake, or it could be done with the 0-calorie cigarette,
or it could be done with a joint.
Usually,
or it could be done with an apple or a cinnamon stick.
Just
something a lot of times what people just want is the break.
Yes.
And it's like if you can find something else to go do. It's like with Chris. You just want to take 4 minutes, go get fresh air. Back at Carmike, we had Carol. She used to eat an apple. She called it an apple break.
Apple break, yeah.
She just go out with an apple and she'd eat an apple while
I just
we all smoke.
So like I just instead of having
she'd
like
throw the apple at the middle line.
Compete.
Don't you guys just like take random breaks though during the day?
Well,
sometimes.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's flow.
Yeah.
I haven't worked a job like that in a while where it's like you get
busy.
You at 10 o'clock you hear the church bells and it's like, okay, we got 15 minutes before we're getting.
But like before that, you get to kind of like be real relaxed, right?
Yeah. There are times when it's slow enough that you could just stand outside and chain smoke.
Yeah.
And then there are times when you go 2 hours.
Every so often you get that like nice, like we're sort of busy, like I have something to do.
Breakfast, lunch.
I'm not overwhelmed, like I'm not rushing from one thing to the next and everything's kind of like, that's a nice flow to be in.
The movie theaters in the mall had a similar flow.
Yeah, like the movie theaters was like all these people came and then everybody got into the movie and then you broke for a little bit.
Your 1 o'clocks, your 4 o'clocks, your 7 o'clocks.
And then you're going to get really busy and you're going to go through a rush and then you're going to get out of it, And that's where smoking really comes into play because it's like, I just went through hell. I want to smoke a cigarette, take a break, then get back ready to do it again. So anyways, we went off the dumb path again. So.
Did. However, though, if you're trying to stop someone from smoking, destroying the cigarettes it's like you're a child is not the way to do it.
No, I was
just enough to do the public shame. Let you know that
Wait,
she needs to let you know that she's disappointed.
Wait, she smashed her cigarettes.
She like ran them under the faucet and like threw them into the that was the dramatic thing. That was the dramatic thing, so.
You should go on stage at the comedy show with that.
So
my wife got so mad.
So does anyone have a cigarette?
Yeah. That's how it started. Like I own this place. I'm gonna smoke a cigarette right now. That's bothering me.
Nobody tell my wife.
Fuck off.
Just don't comment on Facebook if I could have 5 minutes in the back.
Funny enough, I think there's like a loophole that you could we could close off that room and being like, oh, no food's being served in here. We can smoke.
If you closed off that room and brought everyone in through the
the
patio.
I still don't think enough people would appreciate that, but I'm watching a show right now, Night Court. You guys ever hear of it? They did a remake of it recently, which is how I got back into it. And so there's one season they just released, but it's based on a show from the 80s. So now I went back and started watching the original. And it's just like, oh man, the 80s were just such a different time. Like you could just drink and smoke and do whatever you wanted and just.
We're far off from that.
Oh, it's 2023. It's like, goddamn, I get macerated.
Well, is DeSantis the new Reagan? Is Joe Biden, Jimmy Carter,
There's a transfer,
and DeSantis the next Reagan? Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, that's good. That's a good question. My gut in
popular governor
is yes. Yeah,
I think
kind
so.
of.
The way Joe Biden seems being set up to fail. Even if he does win his primary, I don't know.
The Democratic response to Biden, which I'm finally coming around to, you guys would talk about it before, and I'm like, I don't know if they're really working against him. But now I feel like they're just actively saying,
thank you for that,
Joe Biden. I don't think it's you're ready. You should do this right now.
He is no ally in the media. He has people that don't.
He has no allies anywhere. I mean, that's the problem. He actually even some of the good stuff that he did do, and you can argue for. It's just it gets drowned out, So it's just he's in a tough spot. I don't envy Joe Biden right now. He's getting old. He's seeing the rest of his life. He got to the presidency. I think if you want to put a little bow on
his goal was to be the Kennedys. They're Irish. They want to be an Irish Catholic.
He's got a long political career. He's ran for president a ridiculous amount of times, kind of like Trump, but in a different lens. Because Trump ran for president a billion times.
No.
Every year he would file for president
on third-party tickets. Yeah.
No.
Not even.
No, he put out what do they call it?
No, he would actually announce though.
No.
I mean, you could call it a feeler, but he would actually.
They were in other.
I'm running for president.
I thought it was always in other parties.
Unless you pay,
I don't think so.
unless you pay to get yourself on the ballot, I don't.
Because everyone thought he was a Democrat for
I'll try to look this
up. Wasn't he a registered Democrat?
Yeah.
Well, he would flip flop.
No, he didn't flip flop until Obama. He tried to
think
donate
he was
to
announcing
Obama. Obama refused his donation. That's when he went on the birther.
All I'm saying is with Biden, I mean, like, that was always the goal.
Yeah, he ran 4 times, and the whole thing is for most people, once you run, you have no chance. If you run once and lose, why would people change their mind? Yet alone in Biden's case, he won on his 4th attempt.
It said he unofficially ran 3 years in a row. I don't know.
They floated it out. That's Roger Stone kind of stuff. He did not actually put his name on the ballot until 2015.
4, 5, like
he did put his name on the ballot in third parties. Back in the 90s, it was like official.
I don't think
that's what I remember.
That was Ross Perot.
No, he didn't go far with it, but he was on third party.
He would never go far, but it was always just like, I'm running for president. I don't know. It was just more of like a thing to say.
I would not compare that to Joe Biden, though. Being a senator that was
I wouldn't compare it to going time after
he never held public office.
No. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like in a different lens. Like he wasn't ever a politician.
No,
he would joke around with running.
No, what I'm saying is America looked at Joe Biden in 1987. They looked at him in 1991. They looked at him in 2007. And all 3 of those times they said, no, this guy just doesn't got it. All of a sudden, at the ripe age of 78,
he gets it.
They give him on his 4th attempt. After losing, the whole issue was he didn't know how to run a caucus. He couldn't figure out how to win in Iowa. So what does he do now? Fuck Iowa. South Carolina goes first. That's the state that I catapulted on.
There was New Hampshire was also thrown into this, and like people were mad in New Hampshire because somebody was trying to not make that. That was on the Republican. New Hampshire. That was on the Republican
currently,
side.
I guess I'd like to update our audience here. Anyone interested in primary politics? There's a rule, New Hampshire state law, that they are the country's first primary. Iowa has a similar law saying they're America's first caucus. Right now, the DNC, Joe Biden's people, in conjunction with the DNC, have decided that South Carolina, which was the 4th state in 2020. Well, they were a top one, but they're James Clyburn. That's the quote-unquote black vote.
Oh,
he's the guy that he's been around since the 1968 Broker Convention. That was his first
Atlanta.
His first time delegate.
Let's just say Atlanta.
Sure. So, no, but what's important is what's interesting is South Carolina is ruby red. So who gives a fuck what James Clyburn thinks about who the national nominee should be? Do you know who picked Obama? Not James Clyburn. Iowa. It was Iowa picking him over Hillary that said, wow, these bunch of white Cornhuskers are going to pick the black guy? He'll probably do well in the actual black states.
Well, I think a lot of people said, like, why Iowa? At least New Hampshire made, like, some iota of sense, but...
Well, let me passionately defend that. Why Iowa? Because it's small enough that me and you could run.
Right.
Is that when you get to a bigger state, when you start with a South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Texas, Pennsylvania, these 20 electoral vote states, if you're a small candidate, you can't visit every county. Starting with Iowa and New Hampshire is you leave it so that even Marianne Williamson, even Robert F. Kennedy, even DeSantis, whoever the challenger is, can go into Iowa and make a first impression. That in South Carolina, you don't have the money. If you don't have $100 million lying around to do ad coverage, how do you get your name exposed?
Yeah.
You don't have these state fairs, and that's the whole thing against it. My issue with South Carolina specifically is, okay, if you're going to pick a big state, whatever, it has to be a battleground. We should be going first.
Well, there's just no big
Pennsylvania, whichever Republican or Democrat can take PA is in prime electoral positioning to win the election. Well, we should go first. Why aren't we the great sorter?
I was just going to say that's why they go later.
Georgia? No, Atlanta. You said it. Why not Georgia? Skip South. Like we picked South Carolina.
I mistakenly said Atlanta for South Carolina.
James Clyburn has
I meant the South in general.
Yeah, James Clyburn has his little dictatorship in South Carolina. Right. But look at it in general. The big prize is Georgia and Florida.
Yeah.
Florida is definitively red. We thought Georgia was, but it keeps going blue.
It keeps going blue.
Senator-wise.
Yeah.
Let's start with that. If we're going to try and give me a big field.
Like a purple state, basically.
Okay, I can at least see that argument.
But see, that changes. Like, I wouldn't say Georgia was always a purple state. Or I wouldn't say Pennsylvania was always a purple state either, although they kind of are.
Remember, the South, the Civil War South was Democrats.
Yes, and then they flipped back and forth.
And Jimmy Carter was a Democrat from Georgia, the governor of Georgia.
Like all the South were Democrats at one point.
It's tricky to play like that.
Something else,
which is where I like to keep it simple with New Hampshire, Iowa, Nevada, and then South Carolina, is you have small states that, okay, Nevada, more Hispanic.
So wait, wasn't the New Hampshire thing? Wasn't that a
New Hampshire?
That was a Republican thing, right?
Well, Republicans are still doing normal schedule. Republicans have not changed their primaries.
Because I thought they were trying to take it away from New Hampshire.
Oh no, the DNC is taking it the first primary.
Not the DNC, the GOP.
The GOP, New Hampshire still has the first primary. Remember, I was the first caucus.
Okay.
New Hampshire is the first primary.
Primary, yeah.
South Carolina is a winner take all primary.
Yes, right.
Not only is South Carolina a primary,
Yeah.
but it's winner take all. So that means if you're a fringe candidate, if what I would like to do is mount a delegate challenge, you can't just take one delegate.
But they're still fleshing out their rules for each one, right? Like, is all this been
don't
set in stone? Or?
The big thing is a month ago we were supposed to get the rule book. Mm-hmm. They haven't put it out.
Yeah.
And I think it's because we just really don't know. As long as DeSantis is not formally challenging Trump, and no other Democrat besides Marianne Williamson is challenging Biden, we don't really have a race.
Yeah.
That's a rematch. That's Trump versus Biden.
That's the Democrats' problem, even like locally. Like, there's nobody that just even wants
So how
to
do you
run.
pick delegates?
So.
If we're not going to have a race, how do you pick delegates?
You don't think they're going to go try to get Michelle Obama to do it?
If they don't, I think they're waiting. I think right now is what would happen if they would keep Joe Biden in his front runner slot until 2 months before the convention. 2024, July. They announced Joe Biden is too sick to compete for the race.
Push him down the stairs of the plane for the
whatever happens. You do the Hunter Biden, you arrest the son, whatever it is, you pull him out. How did the Democrats pick their candidate with 3 months before the election? 1 month before their convention.
Michelle Obama steps up.
I think that's...
Well, you're going to get a lot of people to come out of the woodwork. And
I think that's
the
inevitable.
Point, you know, and then you don't know who you're going to have, and then are you going to have a good
But then you have a brokered convention, right?
Which Greg's been calling for the last 3 years.
Presuming that we're picking delegates. If Joe Biden runs uncontested and we go through the primaries and he just gets to handpick his delegates, well, then once they pull him out, the delegates are just going to pick Hillary Clinton or Michelle Obama. Like I said, Michelle Obama would be the better choice. The sinister Greg goes, yeah, Hillary Clinton's always winning.
But isn't it? But like,
she had a good interview with Pete Buttigieg.
But is anybody seriously floating Michelle Obama? Like, has she actually taken an interview? Like, hinting
no,
that
she's not.
She's so coy. She's so coy.
So it's,
but everyone's talking.
So it's hard to just even throw
you can't.
a name like that out there.
I can't come out here in good faith and say that she is.
It's all speculation, but like what?
Yeah, no, I get that.
You think like
the candidate has to have some like want to run too. I mean, that's the
that's what I don't see why she'd want to, but I don't see why any of them.
But the best storyline, and the reason why we'd want to broker the convention is the only way we ever get a Joe Rogan is if they don't have to run a traditional drag them out campaign.
Yes.
If the delegates go to the convention and they all agree that the only way that we can win this is we're calling on you, Michelle Obama. We're calling on you, Joe Rogan. We're not asking you to run for a year, 2 months. We have 2 months before the November election.
Yeah, but then they're committing to a job.
And we're saying we got the people. Look at all these people that we have aligned that are amassed. They'll take the jobs. They'll take the security positions. They'll take the staff and the cabinet.
The reason why you avoid that is it's not really a formula for success.
It used to be. Up until 1968, 2 out of 3 conventions were decided at the convention, not before. Because the goal is you take so much heat. If the Democrats announce Joe Biden's running now, he's going to go through 2 years of every Republican just hammering on him. It would be better like a poker player.
Yeah, just
keep your cards close until they call, until DeSantis comes out and formally says, "I'm in it."
Play with the chip stack.
If I'm Joe Breezy, I'll just sit here and keep touting his great economic record.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the Democrat Party kind of has the right to do that, right? It's not like
totally
like they're not set up in our legal system.
It's all chess.
Like they're not part of like the Constitution.
No.
So
no, it's not.
The party
they can handle it however they want.
The parties are actually
the Democrats are the one that subscribe to it.
Exactly.
And if they're going to continue to subscribe to it,
until AOC or Bernie start bitching. Looks like Joe is
I don't think that's
front runner.
I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not predicting that, but that'd be amazing if it did.
I'm on the record saying
better chance at Robert Kennedy.
We figured
my
it
boy.
Out, so
Robert Kennedy Jr., the anti-vaxxer. No. He'd be a fun candidate. I'd like to see. He'd be more legitimate than Marianne Williamson.
Does he hold a seat right now?
No, he's just gotten boosted from. He was one of the first people censored from Twitter, and one of the first people write about.
But he doesn't hold an elected position.
His dad, Bobby Kennedy, was the one assassinated in 1968. So if we're trying to drum up a little 50-year anniversary,
we know that.
I will volunteer for Bobby Kennedy's campaign for free. I would love to work that campaign. Whether or not that's going there, I just saw that floated.
The Chat GPT thing.
Not Chat GPT. Chat JRB. They've managed to make a chat bot because now they've worked audio in.
Yeah, so it's going to be.
It sounds more coherent than Joe Biden today.
They
could create Joe Biden from 20 years
ago.
The
robocalls are going to be out of control.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be fake people calling you over. And
anybody
over
doing voice audio is done. Is they're going to create? No, not yet. Not yet, because all of our stuff is censored. Yet. Right now, if you ask anything we talk about, they can't talk about these controversial material. It's not until the algorithm is let loose. Oh, yeah. This is the big... They asked them to write a poem about the positives of Joe Biden.
No, have you asked them to talk about our podcast?
I've done the whole Hunter Biden investigation through it. It won't tell me anything. Nothing. Nothing. You should...
Why are we not surprised?
We answer the questions that ChatGPT is incapable of. The problem is Joe Biden is not... I mean, the chatbot's better. And at what point do we just go with the chatbot? If Joe Biden is the representative, and we got Tony Blinken...
I don't even know what you said because of the stutter. Greg, try
to
talk more clearly on the podcast.
You're telling me? I'm talking about Joe Biden.
Oh,
we're
Biden.
Talking about stutters and Blinken.
Wait, was it Abe Lincoln?
Tony Blinken. Tony Anton Blinken.
That's all I was trying to get to. Is I didn't actually understand who the person was.
He's like our head leading the Ukrainian war right now. Another goddamn.
Is that AI on the board, Alec Italiano versus the creative class? Or is that?
Oh no! It was more okay. This is more of a philosophical question. Is most people thought the first thing that AI would take over is manual labor, like your cash registers,
right? Your
servers, your programmers,
pounding the iron into steel.
It seems like it's going after the creative class first. It's you can say, okay, write me a 5-paragraph essay about the dangers of AI in the voice of George Carlin or in the voice of Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
And it does it
with
astonishing accuracy.
I sort of.
And it's only going to get. This is at a rudimentary. This is at a very low level.
I sort of have a take on this, but it's more or less just that
you being a marketing. The question is that's another one. Marketing jobs.
Well, that's what it's funny.
It does this better than any marketing
I see my initials
major.
Versus the creative class. And I'd like to think I'm more on the creative class side of this. So that's why it's
typical self-centered Alec. Or look at that and think I was writing about him. No, that's artificial intelligence. Is what I meant. But no, look at the Alec Italiano, the artificial intelligence that is your brain.
Allen Iverson,
Allen Iverson. Actual intelligence.
No, okay, there you go.
You could confuse artificial intelligence with actual intelligence if you want to do a real battle.
I just think we as a society have been dumbed down so much.
We're illiterate. We're innumerate.
I'd love to see an IQ test. I was talking about the 80s earlier. I'd like to see what the IQ was of society in the 80s compared to 2023, because I just feel like it would be far and away. Reading comprehension, writing ability, all those things, basic grammar, any of that kind of thing. I would just feel like we just don't know anything anymore because we don't need to. We Google it all. We have calculators at our fingertips. I mean, there's just no reason to memorize.
Your phone corrects your text.
And the phone basically corrects our spelling. I mean, we have the squigglies. I mean, it started with Microsoft Word. I'm not knowing how to spell.
Check, a little paper mate, paper clip guy in the corner.
You had all these things, and it's you don't need to know all these things anymore.
I feel
one of my idols.
You don't think you learn some while seeing it correct?
No, you definitely learn something. I mean, I'm not saying it completely takes away.
No, I think people still know.
You can tell when you could use it as a tool.
But
I just don't think enough people are
working the register that we're working. You get to see how bad some people are at math.
Oh yeah, I mean, I check myself at the door a lot of the times with the math.
It's a disaster. But most people can't do basic change.
Right.
Looking at a bill.
Right.
Let alone.
It would take me a few seconds to do that in my head. I'd have to count it up.
The army discounts, the police, and the fire chief discounts. Abby is rewriting my checks.
Oh, really?
Taking discounts off of it. It's $5. She takes 20% off the bill.
For who?
Firemen, police officers, and military. Service members.
I never did any of that.
And it's like, I don't know. Once we start
I also
that,
think that's maybe why the police never come, is because I never like made the chief free from the beginning.
No, I don't. That's the profit. It's not worth it.
That's what we can't afford to do that.
No, go to King. Burger King.
Right.
You get that discount.
You think they would almost want to pay because you're supporting a local.
What do you think, Craig?
With the discount
for local service members?
I didn't know this. I'm gonna have to.
I don't know what your profit margin.
That's when you were talking about that we had the register issues, and it's like she had never done this before this weekend.
Yeah,
she hadn't been this aggressive with working the register. It's like
because it adds up to we figured out almost $100.
Yeah,
we were short.
And you throw that with the local flavors issue, and it's like we can't have
local flavors.
We can't do with discounting everything.
It was such a slow day. And 2 of my tables were local flavors, and it's just like so defeating. There's $50 out the window.
On a positive note, for the tippy.
Yeah, you usually. I got 2 $15 tips today.
Yeah, you end up they kind of tip the difference.
Yeah,
so it's like sure.
But as the house, you totally lose. I mean, I just so happened to be the house today because I was the server. But it's like
2 in a day.
Oh, it was bad. I think I'm done with those.
How do you pull out?
You just tell them I'm not advertising.
They just keep printing coupons every month. They just keep saying, "Here's another free $20."
Yeah,
it's bizarre. It's totally weird. We got no way to.
I haven't actually done the math on if I'm making out on it or not. I don't know if I want to, and I think that's why.
I've been making sure. I always make sure the customer goes through the whole redeem. Like I want to see it go through to the it's done process.
See, when they print it out, it's hard to do that because.
They say in order to get that receipt, I think they have to go through it. I kind of like that I can just staple that, and then I know it. I don't like when I don't have an inventory receipt. Yeah. Like when they just do it on their phone. It's like, well, okay.
Yeah.
Completely off topic.
Way off topic.
Yeah.
It's a form of advertising. We'll fill you guys in on it later. So.
Tucker and the Jan 6.
Okay, we can actually get into Tucker now, right? In the Fox vs. Dominion thing, because
sure.
Craig and I brought that up earlier, and you were like, "Whoa, we went on 19 different directions. We're too stoned to do the show."
To open the Fox Dominion lawsuit.
Speaking of, do we have any more weed?
Let's just finish up this episode.
Yeah, but by the time we're done, it'll be too late. Your mom's already here.
I recorded the AOC versus the dress. They're investigating her for a Met Gala.
Oh,
that to me is the same as the Old Dominion.
Is that what this was? Is that what that was over?
Yeah, she didn't pay. It was like 100,000. Yeah, they're both bullshit. I do not. That's why I don't know how much time you want to spend on it. I don't believe anything is coming of Dominion or the AOC lawsuits. The way that the Dominion lawsuit's playing out is Rupert Murdoch, the owner of Fox News,
right?
In order to claim that the news spread by Hannity he's liable for it, is he has to prove malicious intent. He admitted they just did it for a profit. Is that if they didn't cover it, their competitor, One News, which is their competitor in Breitbart, were going to. And if they just decided to pretend that nobody thought there was any election interference, then they would have lost customers.
But do they?
So it's in their fiduciary interests to actually cover both sides of the story. And Tucker ended up being the prime example of he was the one that burned the person claiming the election was rigged. He had that not the guy,
Tucker's
the
back
woman,
and forth on this.
Not Lynn Wood.
Yes,
not Lynn Wood. The woman.
And then she was like, "We have to fucking fire her or whatever."
He filleted her.
Yeah,
proving she was wrong.
Yeah.
So it was like it wasn't Tucker that did it; it was Hannity, and they admitted they did it for the money.
Tucker's kind of back and forth on this. I've seen both sides of the canon.
With Team Tucker, hardcore on this side.
Yeah, no, I know you are, but even like the timeline and like the actual like these are the bullet points of this story confuse me because like at one point it's like we called Arizona too early and then everybody got mad and then Tucker like backtracked, but then we have this private text of him saying that he hates the president, so then it's like what is it really, and that's where I get lost in the whole thing. But I think you're downplaying the Fox vs. Dominion lawsuit a lot much. I don't necnecessarily think you need to claim malicious intent.
That's Sullivan versus
you need
Roberts.
This
is 1957.
Is that a libel case?
New York City case, yes. Liability, because this isn't the same across the world. In England, you could be sued for this. It's in America, free speech is you have to prove that the language was incendiary.
Like it was actual
to cause
slander?
Yes, that they were intentionally lying. They weren't intentionally lying. They just were trying to keep their customers.
I don't know.
That's called capitalism. You cannot like it. It's difficult to argue that CNN didn't do the same thing with the Mueller report.
You would think, Robert.
For 2 years. When we had 50 intelligence agencies 2 weeks before the 2020 election, 50 intelligence officers say that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian misinformation. You could say they were lying and they maliciously affected the outcome of the election.
Yeah.
So to have Democrats sit here and argue that Republicans all of a sudden, that Fox is the first major news network to ever tell a lie.
I guess the point I keep falling back.
We called Matt Taibbi a fake journalist today because he used to write for the New York Times.
Murdoch has enough lawyers that this like kind of.
When you read the transcript, he played it like a vet. Murdoch knows the law, and he pledged everything. He admitted. I mean, he didn't agree. That's what Tucker. I don't agree with
his entire life.
But
Murdoch knows what he's doing.
But just because I don't agree with it doesn't mean I censor it.
Yeah,
I'll play both sides of the story, and I'm going to trust my audience to figure out what is correct and what is not.
I mean, personally, I think it was kind of ballsy of Dominion to come out and try the lawsuit in the first place. I mean, I loved it. I was like, yeah, take a stab. Because what do you really have to lose? You're fighting for your own integrity.
Yeah.
And that's
I'm
why
all
you're
about
filing.
the integrity of online voting.
No, but they're trying to protect their brand. Like they're trying to protect their future investments here.
How confident should we be in the brand that is virtual voting?
But that
maybe we shouldn't have Dominion handling
But that's
this.
what this lawsuit's really about.
Oh yeah, they want their jobs.
It's not so much like Fox screwed up. It's like, hey, we want the government contract to do ballots for the next 50 years, and we're going to fight this out in court.
They don't just want America; they want every other country.
Well, they're trying to prove their worth.
They want Brazil. They want Israel.
They're saying you said that our machines were wrong. We're saying no, and we don't want to lose revenue over this. So. Yeah, you're getting fucking sued, bitch. Like, that's what this is about.
Did they prove that none of them were wrong?
I mean, they obviously feel confident enough to allege a lawsuit. So,
or they're being funded to do the lawsuit.
It means nothing.
They could be being funded.
I mean, they're still putting their neck on the line here a little bit. Whether it doesn't matter who's funding it necessarily. If they lose this lawsuit, then they're done as a company. So it's like you want to throw your ring into the big, and if you want to done as the big ring,
they're not really done as a company.
If Fox wins this lawsuit, I would say yes. I mean, they'll probably end up settling.
They have the most recognizable
Fox for name. They're suing them for $1 billion. Dominion is
right.
Really? Yeah, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. It's the same as anyone thinks Trump's getting indicted.
They'll settle, but let's just play this out into fantasy land that it actually gets to like a court setting and like jurors are involved, and like anything could happen. And like let's say Fox wins that battle, well then Dominion's done. Like
Dominion's suing. Dominion can't lose here. That's what they're
can. No, Fox can fend them off as the defendants.
So they don't. Dominion doesn't lose anything. That's why it doesn't cost them anything to do this.
Yeah, getting the contracts that's all just lobbying.
But what I'm saying is, if Dominion's the one attacking, and then if they lose,
but they should be defending.
But their public image doesn't matter
because they're claiming that they shouldn't have to defend themselves because they weren't guilty of the fraud they're being accused of.
That's a political,
they lobby for those jobs.
So. I don't,
and they can just change the name.
I'll go out on a limb now, and I don't think there will be any consequences on AOC or Fox for their behavior as far as accepting illegal money or slandering.
All I'm saying is Dominion could be the Dominion as the attacker could end up being like destroyed over this whole thing. But
okay, which they should be. I'm so against virtual voting. But what
it wasn't necessarily virtual voting either. It was just like the actual collection of votes.
What I wanted to transition to get your take on is what is your understanding of this big Tucker scandal in the Jan 6 videos?
Yeah, well, this feeds into what I was saying earlier about like I don't follow necessarily the bullet points because he's given all these videos, right?
Kevin McCarthy gave him all the videos that the House members, Democrats and Republicans had access to. They gave it to him.
Yeah.
He didn't have facial recognition software that Congress did.
The AP article that I read about it earlier was basically like Tucker's portraying a false narrative over, what he's seeing in the tapes.
What is that false narrative?
basically like the biggest thing I saw was like there was one video of like a police officer escorting around the one head honcho guy of the
shaman.
people that invaded, and then that makes it seem like they're all in on it, like whatever.
The guy thought that the police were on his team.
Yeah. So.
And it was going on with the rest of them too.
Yeah, and so I think that's like the one thing, and it's like, is this a false narrative or is this actually journalism at work? Like it's hard to
remember. CNN
so.
and the Jan 6 committee had 2 years to take this same 10,000 hours and put on their own false narrative, and they did do that.
And they did.
They picked the worst.
They put their case out.
Their complaint against Tucker is he's not playing the bad stuff. He's just picking the stuff that makes us look bad.
But again,
and Tucker's going like, yeah.
So go back to my Fox comment earlier in the show,
that's
where I say like basically anything Fox does, I basically want to throw out in a courtroom. Like earlier, I was saying, like that interview with Dr. Fauci was like legitimate. Like that was actual journalism at work.
He made that for Neil Cavuto.
But now we have an opportunity where we're taking videos and potentially taking things out of context and trying to slam things in their
Thank you, Alec.
But that's what they did. That's what CNN and them.
Don't worry.
I said potentially.
Mitch McConnell was onto this. Mitch McConnell was onto this, and so was Brett Baer from Fox News. Right after we had our Neil Cavuto, put him on. Put him on. This is Republicans going against Tucker, because God forbid he did their job. It is the job of the Republicans in the House to look at these videos and then put on a hearing. They have been incapable of doing that. We haven't got to go on that rant tonight about how bad the Republicans did on their hearings.
Literally the first thing we should have been talking about.
To Kevin McCarthy, I'm a very anti-Kevin McCarthy up until now. He met his pledge with Matt Gaetz and the Republican squad. Give the videos to Tucker. Let him use his hour where everyone watches it to put a compelling video. And he is still driving conversation, slowly releasing this each night. Here is Fox's response the next day. So Tucker puts this out on Monday. He basically puts out a video showing that a lot of the Q shaman, the guy with the horns, was basically being guided around to a point where he thought they were his friends. He said a prayer for them. It's just it got to be a very awkward. And the police, in their defense, he interviewed the police too, is they were in riot control. They were like, we're not going to pull our guns on these people and turn right now it's not violent. If we just entertain them, we're going to walk with them, we're going to open the doors.
Right.
The question that
was probably what they were doing.
They were doing that.
So you're arguing my case.
They were doing that as they were calling for backup, and for some reason
they were buying time.
They never got the backup. They just let this happen for hours and hours and hours on end. But here is Mitch's response to what Tucker played.
Yeah.
Program never reached out to the department to provide accurate context. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell agrees with Manger that the new video lacks a proper frame of reference.
My concern is how it was depicted, which is a different issue. Clearly, the chief of the Capitol Police, in my view, correctly describes what most of us witnessed firsthand.
McConnell questioned how the show handled the video on the air.
It was a mistake, in my view, for Fox News to depict this in a way that's completely at variance with what our chief law enforcement official here at the Capitol thinks.
Rioters outmanned officers 58-1. A congressional security source tells Fox the mob controlled the Capitol for nearly 2.5 hours. That's why officers appeared to chat casually with rioters.
Officers do what they can to de-escalate situations rather than escalate the situation to something worse. It's really a form of...
So I think that they are just mad because that crowd exposed how easy it would be for the people, if they're mad enough at the politicians, to take it back from them. They don't like that they're exposed how weak, really the security around them is weak.
Let me clean up on when Mitch said he had an issue with the context.
Personally, I think Mitch is arguing my point for me.
He is.
Continue.
No, he is. He's arguing a Democratic point, which is very confusing because Kevin McCarthy, the majority speaker of the House Republican, gave these tapes to Tucker, and now the minority speaker of the Senate.
That was Mitch McConnell talking right there, right? The turtle from South Carolina.
Yeah, the turtle. The next guy, polio.
I mean, I had to look twice. I was like, this is a Republican, right?
Cocaine Mitch. Mitch. But the argument that to give benefit of the doubt, would be, oh man, this is tricky to explain.
It's okay, we're waiting.
No, let me. I'm trying to give best charity to this case. Is that the way Tucker explained it? He was almost calling it a peaceful protest. Is that if you just play the videos of them walking around, it looks like a guided tour. On that same note, the way the Democrats portrayed it is all they showed was the original gate breaking. Is they kept showing different footage of the one, which these guys were being led by FBI officers to charge a barricade of cops. Once the gate was broken, people could just walk in. And a lot of the people arrested, like the shaman, he wasn't somebody hitting police officers. That was a small group. When I say small, under 100, that basically got in a rummy scrum with the Capitol Hill police. Once they broke through it, people just walked in.
If it was
and they
so
just
horrific,
paraded around.
Why was there's no military around?
It was vandalism. It wasn't treason. It was vandalism. It wasn't treason.
I think
it wasn't a coup.
As most
it was a
things
protest
with politics. The answer is in the middle here somewhere, right? Because I think yes, the footage that we saw of like a window breaking, like actually did happen.
Yes.
That wasn't fabricated.
But there's also the video.
And then the video of them being escorted peacefully throughout the hallways obviously wasn't fabricated. So it's like both sides are going to show the extreme to what they want to show here and prove their point. But they broke in. That maybe was 20 minutes worth of.
But these people have been jailed for. That's vandalism. That's at night in the drunk bin. That's not 2 years in prison.
It happened on federal property, so I don't
that
know what
shaman is a veteran.
So.
That guy was in the military.
Whatever.
He's clearly out of his mind.
Well, it's just.
Was he doing treason? He didn't commit treason.
But this wasn't like the neighborhood supermarket. Like this was federal property.
If anything, would you rather your angry citizens protest and burn down their local businesses or go to the Capitol building?
I don't know.
I'd say go to the Capitol. Would you rather someone go to your local Sam's Club, your local Walmart, your local Permanis, and burn the business to the ground and protest, or go to the Capitol building and actually protest the people that are making their lives?
Not even kill anybody, just get killed by.
I think Mitch McConnell was talking because he was like part of that, right? Like he was somebody that was in the room, not knowing in that time really what was happening.
Similar to the way the Democrats
he was probably fearing for his life.
But I just don't see how. He might have been.
In that moment.
No, he wasn't.
In that moment, you don't know. In that moment, you don't know.
Tunnels. They were gone.
Correct, yeah.
They were gone. They have tunnels. They were out.
All that taken stuff out of consideration. This was the first time this has happened since the War of 1812. Like, you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen.
First time this has happened since the War of 1812.
That's a stupid comment.
No, it's not.
I don't even know.
It was the first time that, like, the Capitol
I get that you view it that way. But
I do.
It wasn't sieged,
but
it wasn't occupied.
For 2.5 hours it was. That's not me. That's the newscast said that.
It needs to be months.
Your clip said that.
It needs to be months.
It doesn't matter.
2.5 hours. You didn't occupy anything but a bathroom.
First 2.5 hours it was occupied since the War of 1812.
Jesus.
So
if you're Mitch McConnell and you're being fed information that there's an insurrection happening, what does that sound like to you? That sounds like to me like people with guns and are actually here to like take back country, not just parade around. He probably didn't realize that it was so like minor.
Yeah, but it wasn't minor.
I think
it was pretty minor. It was pretty freaking stupid.
It wasn't the chair being pushed over in the
reason our liberal friends.
It was stupid. It's not like the worst day.
No.
Like
you can't compare it to 9/11.
Yeah, I don't know how people can possibly compare it to.
I mean, obviously, there's a frame of historical context that needs to be applied, but at the end of the day, yes,
that's why they were complaining. Is Tucker did not give the correct context.
Like
that was Mitch's complaint.
It'll be mentioned in history books for years to come.
No,
this happened on January 6th.
But beyond a paragraph,
2021.
I think the only way you go beyond
like the Boston Massacre.
No. Yeah,
that was a lot more than a paragraph.
A lot more people died in the Boston.
Oh yeah, the Boston Massacre was worse.
I'd say that's
and people died for this too. I mean, like let's not downplay
a victim of the government.
No,
the government killed one person.
Whoever you want to blame, people died.
But the attackers, the insurrectionists, didn't kill anybody.
I know, but the fact that they decided to riot made the death happen. deaths.
You're victim blaming.
Multiple people died.
How are you gonna victim blame?
If there was no
the
riot,
government shot
if
them.
there was no
They
riot, nobody
they
would
weren't
have
threatening
died.
them. They weren't threatening them with
If
deadly
there
force.
was no riot, nobody would have died.
A peaceful protest. They weren't threatening with violent force.
A lot of peaceful things have turned into violence.
So you shoot preemptively.
No, I'm just.
I would put this with the Boston Tea Party.
People have
I would put
rioted
this-
after a soccer match. They've lost.
So you shoot them.
and there's a stampede.
How about the
and
Boston
people
Tea
die.
Party? How about
But
the
you shoot the government
So
shoots them?
because of a sporting event, somebody died. No, it's just like because they
Tiananmen,
decided.
yeah, Alex just going to Tiananmen Square. Just open
be-
fire. We got the F-16s,
No,
bitch.
because
Yeah, you want your
whether
Second
they had
Amendment?
guns or
I
not,
I can just
as
drone you.
peaceful as you
What are
want
you
to
gonna do
make
with
it,
your
as
assault
peaceful
rifle when
as
I
you
can
want to
just
make it
drone you?
seem, people tried to break into the Capitol. They did, and people have died. Those are the
because
were-
the government shot them.
They didn't
those are
try.
the
They
facts.
were allowed into
The
the,
government
Capitol.
didn't do anything.
They didn't break in.
government
They were
can-
allowed
the-
in.
the
The government was trying to defend themselves
From what?
from the people getting into the building.
Where was the
did they
backup?
attack?
Where was the backup?
Why did they attack?
Where was the backup?
This is where you guys completely lose me. I
You
mean,
have to have an attacker.
It doesn't matter.
On
Like,
9/11, we were
it
attacked.
doesn't matter.
Right? People
Doesn't
tried to
matter.
kill us.
Yes.
Right? Did anybody try to kill anybody on January 6th other than the
knew.
government?
Nobody knew.
They didn't know.
Nobody knew.
But we didn't.
You had a lot of people in that building, and people died. So that's what happened.
Can we?
But
Are you
You
going
have
to
to
deny?
have-
Are you going to deny the fact that somebody died?
no, I'm claiming somebody died.
Okay,
Yes.
that's all. That's all the evidence I need. The defense
because of the
rests.
government.
Can we agree? Okay.
No, because of the government is not part of my argument here. People died because there was a riot. You're going to say there was a riot
The
because
police
somebody
killed
else
protesters.
because
a
because somebody
stupid
else
reason.
But the police killed
because
protesters.
somebody else won the election.
The Capitol Police killed protesters on
If
January.
somebody
And they
commits,
didn't- and they didn't
if
believe
somebody
in it
commits
enough?
The
suicide
protesters did
because
not kill
Donald
anybody.
Trump lost, is that
No,
the election's
no,
fault?
no, the protesters did not kill anybody. The police killed protesters on January 6th.
Yeah, because they were being
Okay, but
they
no,
were being
but no,
like, I don't
like
know
I'm
how
going to
you
use the word
justify that.
attacked, but it's like people were coming into the building.
they were
Yeah.
opening doors for them. They
You're-
were holding doors.
No, and actually part of that clip that made sense is like they were trying to de-escalate.
Can you
Like,
shoot
they
an
were-
unarmed person
because they
attacking
knew
you?
that they were
You're
out.
dying.
They knew they were outmanned. There was nothing that they could have done. Okay, you can call for backup, but like at that point, like time is a major issue. You can't get 4,000 people into this building to be able to like flush these people out. So they were letting these people walk around because they literally had no other option. What were they going to try to do? Hold hands and prevent these people from coming in? No,
Cuff
they get
him.
ran over.
You just put him in cuffs.
You cuff them.
and you set him
You're
in a corner.
gonna cuff a riot?
What did it look
Do
like
you-
a riot in
you
those
gotta
videos?
watch-
There
you-
were
you-
hundreds and thousands
You
of
have
people
to watch the
getting in.
shaman.
Outside,
You have
the
to watch
people
the shaman
inside.
walking around with his own like personal bodyguard.
They were outnumbered. He said it in the clip. Like the clip defends my
No, but the
arguments.
clip is
like what you just played
the
is
gate,
my argument.
Once the gate was breached,
Do you want to play it again?
once the gate was breached, there was
Nothing that they could do.
So they quit. That's why it ended up being 50 to
The
1.
federal
It
agents
wasn't
didn't
at the
go
beginning.
inside the building because they knew that that would get them charged.
Let me take this.
No.
Let me go. This is where I want to go with this.
No.
When COVID was first released,
Okay.
there was a concentrated push to criticize people who argued that it came from a lab as opposed to the wild. Correct?
I don't know how you're going to relate this to COVID, but sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Let me work here.
I'm letting you
Okay.
go. I'm not cutting you off
At the beginning.
yet.
But why was it important that we didn't accuse the lab?
So they didn't get raided.
At a time when we are dependent on China for trade, it would not have been a good look to basically. I mean, if you're accusing it from coming from a lab, you're not just that. Like to me, that wasn't an accident. When I was saying it came from a lab, it was intentional.
How did you go from January 6th?
I don't think it's a good look for
the
America
COVID.
to invade America either. So, and that's basically what January 6th was.
Damn.
So.
I had a transition before we started the meeting there. Now, when Jan 6, okay. When it first happened, the argument is, okay, Trump started it. All that...
They were mad that the election was over and they didn't think it was real.
There was always at the beginning... But at that time, there was also about that Epps guy. The question was, why did the FBI instigate it? If the Democrats are arguing that Trump instigated the rally, but it appears that his own FBI instigated it. Why would they do that?
That is a good question.
It's not the same as just, oh, well, the Wuhan lab accidentally leaked it.
You guys are forcing me to drink.
Oh, wow, the FBI deep state.
You do know about that, right?
The question is did they intentionally sabotage him? Was this that they intentionally instigated January 6th so that they could get data, or as Fauci would say, data, on every protester, every alt-MAGA, whatever Biden's calling them now, but he got them like fish in a bucket. He got them all in one place at one time with their iPhones, posting themselves. He slapped charges on them and has been surveilling them for his entire presidency.
Talk about a conspiracy village.
Yeah, that was
like I'm not.
You went off the deep end there.
Can you not see though how those two ties? Where on one hand you have,
I'm not saying I don't.
We just have a debate between whether it's from whether it's an accident occurring in nature or whether it was created in a Chinese factory. Now we have do we have an organic protest, a coup as you're calling it, or do we have something created by the FBI to go against their president? If the latter is the case.
Yeah, all the FBI agents that were involved is weird. That is, like, I don't understand why.
Well, the key word of the sentence is if. I mean, like, it's impossible to prove.
I think we can't. That's what Tucker's doing. Is he's playing video.
They have the people on video who aren't
the guy that died.
Yeah, but again,
didn't die. They have video of him with a helmet on.
The clip that you just played, like, I couldn't even defend myself any better, because they were talking about the methods used, like why this video like is showing what it showed. Like Mitch McConnell said it himself. It's being taken out of context. Like this was I don't want more people in trouble, like methodology. Like this is why we saw the behavior that we saw. Like they were trying to like de-escalate and not necessarily incite.
But what would they
de-escalate? And so that's why they were like, hey, you want to like prove your point and like tour this building? Then I will actually help you do that, because if I stand in your way, then there's a chance that more violence could happen.
But did they seem hostile? That's the thing. It's like
I would actually say that the tactics worked.
Did they ask them to turn around? Did they ask them to stay out?
The de-escalation tactics worked by the people in the Capitol.
This is where I guess kind of we need to have hearings. We need to hear if did they even try? Did the police officers even ask them to turn around?
Right. Which is why we had an investigation over the whole thing.
Were the doors locked?
That was what the hearings were over. Like it was like what happened here.
But they didn't find anything, and now it's coming out that they actually might have been intentionally diverted. That's the issue with Fauci saying that it didn't come from a lab.
But Republicans for years were saying this wasn't a big deal. Why even investigate it at all?
No.
So now we're saying, oh yeah, it does need to be investigated.
No.
Just for different reasons.
They were not allowed to impanel the committee.
Well, it was politically charged, yes.
Everything done on Capitol Hill is politically charged. There's no such thing as a hearing that is not politically charged. Never before in the Capitol's history has a Speaker of the House banned the opposing party from picking its roster. This is standard Congress. Is the head of the House picks his team. No. That has not happened. Republicans did not do that to Democrats.
We have a Republican control of the House right now, and now we're going to go back 2 years and look at the way Biden pulled out of Afghanistan because we have that leverage now.
I think we should have left Afghanistan. I don't agree with that. But how is
that?
How is that relevant? What I'm saying is Nancy Pelosi said
because we're investigating it right now.
Nancy Pelosi.
The only reason we're investigating it right now is because there's now a Republican House majority.
Coach Nancy said that Coach Kevin wasn't allowed to start the players he wanted to. That's not legal. When you say we did 2 years of a COVID investigation, a Jan 6 hearing, and yeah, basically what Tucker is doing in 2 weeks. Democrats did for 2 years. Yeah. And now they're sitting around going, Tucker just can't look at this and cherry pick it. You did that for 2 years. I mean, the Mueller report was 4 years.
He's doing a good job of it. Like that's
killing.
That's not what I'm arguing.
No, should. It's one of those things. If we're in a point where we're showing tapes, if we're just sitting here watching. It's like, Alec, okay, they said this guy died from getting hit in the head with a fire hydrant. He has a helmet on, and this is 2 hours after they said it happened. He died of a stroke 3 days later, probably caused by vaccine.
No.
Like, it wasn't the riot.
Okay.
But that's... The issue was
it's journalism. It's journalism at work. He voted for Trump.
He voted for Trump. His wife was a Democrat, and his wife was using his dead body as a puppet to try and say that Trump killed him. When in all reality, he probably, if he was alive, would not have said that same thing.
I'm pretty sure more than one person died.
Oh, the person that died on spot was a protester. It was not a cop.
She was shot in the.
The cop died 3 days later of a stroke that we have no idea what caused it. It does not appear.
There was only one person at the site.
It's a joke. But Biden, you think this because Biden repeats this every rally. He says 5 people died, 3 people died. So fucking confused.
She was like a former military too.
Yes. A lot of these people were veterans. The shaman was a veteran. They probably have post-traumatic stress syndrome.
It looks like total.
5 people died, according to the New York Times.
Who are they all? When did they die?
Do you want me to read the article?
Yeah, do it.
We gotta look for the list of people.
Yeah.
A police officer was beaten. A rider was shot. 3 others died during the rampage.
Okay. Well, the police officer did not die, and the rider was a Trump supporter
New
killed by the
information
cops.
emerged
So what are the other
regarding
3?
the death of the Capitol Police officer that questions the initial cause of his death provided by officials close to the Capitol Police. So you have the update there.
Yeah, so now we're down to 4, but the headline still says 5.
And,
so
I'm telling you, the woman shot was a Trump supporter shot by the Capitol Hill Police.
Yeah, the woman.
So
she was.
Take that out. So who are the mystery 3?
Yeah, who are the other 3? I'm curious.
Federal prosecutors have opened investigations into the deaths of 2, the officer beaten and the California woman shot. But authorities have released limited information about the deaths of the others, while families and friends have been grappling and blah blah blah.
The girl shot
Brian
on video.
Sicknick.
That's the cop that was a Trump voter.
Yeah. Truly a level humble soul.
Okay.
Hailed as a hero. Ashley Babbitt, Air Force veteran.
That's the Trump.
Yeah.
And the other ones are not releasing any information on.
So frustrating.
A public
fact check by the New
York
Times.
Public insurrection.
2 out of 5 of their sources can be disproved right out of the gate, and the other 3 are unnamed.
I get the
okay,
point,
New York Times, you got it.
But see, the point of the matter isn't how or what. It was the fact that 5 people actually died. If there wasn't this riot,
you don't even know if they are. They didn't even give.
But if there wasn't a riot, the 5 people would have died.
No, we don't even know.
That's true.
We only know 1 died at the scene. The other ones, we don't know anything about them.
The fact that they were there made them die.
Association, they died within a day range.
If she was in California where she was from,
the police officer did not die at the scene.
If you get COVID and you die after it, you died from COVID.
Oh,
Even the car accident.
That is how they live.
25 years old, you get
died in
2 weeks later, you wreck your car.
Activities of January 6th. I mean, it's that simple.
The article even tells you one of them is being questioned, and you still claim 5 people died there.
Yeah, but that's
the article tells you it's 4.
It doesn't matter. To me, the fact that they were within the proximity of the events that happened and died is enough.
So if they went home afterwards with so much excitement from what they just did and then died from a heart attack, that's
exactly
because they got the vax and their hearts enlarged. They got all hyped up at the rally, and now
if they were leaving, I'm not condoning that part.
If they were leaving the rally and got hit by a car,
but you have to understand though, when these hearings are going on, you are a lawyer in a courtroom. That's the argument that you're putting out as prosecutor. You know what I mean? You're saying yes, this person had a heart attack because
as a lawyer.
Yeah, well that's how I'm treating this. I mean, you have to look at it like that.
I'm treating it with reason.
I don't even know. No, but
that's what these
I don't know.
That's what these hearings are. What do you think they are? They're lawyers arguing their case.
So but that's not a winning argument.
But what is wrong with
Kevin?
Yeah,
it is. 5 people died.
What is wrong with Kevin?
Stop
saying 5 people died. 5 people didn't die. 5 people didn't die.
It's very easy to prove. That's not the problem.
We just disproved 2 out of 5, and you can't get a name for the other 3.
No, the facts remain that they died in connection with the events that happened on January 6th.
He didn't.
I don't know how we.
I don't know what you guys are missing here. If they were at a baseball game, they wouldn't have died.
So we already know.
They were at January 6th.
So you're the lawyer.
If they were at the Super Bowl and they were Philly fans, and 3 days later they died of a stroke.
That's not.
It wasn't the panic of the game.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
It wasn't the holding call. The referee was responsible for that Philly fan having a heart attack.
First of all, you shouldn't love sports that much to die of a heart attack in case they died. I mean, come on, what are we?
You just claim that someone was so hyped about an election that they worked themselves into a stroke frenzy.
No, they were part of a riot. It was a physical exercise.
That was the cop.
It's a lot different than sitting in a seat watching a sporting event. They were.
But now the lawyer on the other side. But the lawyer on the other side is now going to go forward and say.
That's what you guys are doing.
They're going to say, the only one we actually have proof for is this videotape of the government shooting.
Yeah, but I still have the evidence that places a person in a certain place and connected to an event, and then can do causation for their death.
But how does the jury look at that when you won't even put them on the stand?
Well, there is no jury; it's a hearing. But
exactly, we are the jury, the people.
The people.
Well, we're
when you have a
it.
hearing on Capitol Hill, the voters are the jury. None of these people get arrested. The question is anyone watching it? And if they are, do you see how full of shit some of these people are?
I just think the deaths actually mean a lot here. Like, if nobody died, then I think we could have called it a peaceful protest.
We're going to open with that.
So if the government...
We'll get to the bottom of all 5 of Alex.
So if the government kills somebody, then...
Do you know how many people died over the Summer of Love? And they were not burning down the Capitol.
I'm not calling those peaceful protests. You guys are calling January 6th peaceful protests.
No.
I'm saying it was more peaceful than those.
But you're saying it wasn't a big deal.
I'm
saying no, people actually died.
I would say that
it's a big deal.
I'm saying it's a big deal.
That January 6th is the equivalent to the Summer of Love, not 9/11. 9/11 was an actual attempt to upseed American American.
The only reason 9/11 comes into
Pearl Harbor
here.
Pearl Harbor.
No, none of that. I mean, like, these are like, okay, we're just circling dates on like the historical calendar at this point.
Those are,
and that's what the Democrats are trying to do with January 6th.
We did 2 years.
I understand that part. Okay, and I'm not trying to do that.
Okay,
I'm not trying to put January 6th on par with. I'm
saying it's
Pearl
less.
Harbor.
It's less than the summer. The Portland, the Chad protest zone. This is less impactful.
I'm not trying to rank it. Okay, all I'm trying to do is have Republicans take it seriously.
No, you can't. As long as you have members of your party saying it is the equivalent to Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, the problem...
You can't have a serious debate.
But that's just poor strategy on their part.
Well, like, I'm sorry, we're not Democrats.
They shouldn't be doing that.
And
you should talk to them about that.
Well, I'm trying. Through this mouthpiece in front of me right now, Craig. Okay, like, goddamn. Like, I always feel like I try to bring sense to the Democratic Party on this show, you know, and it's like, it is outrageous.
You get past your skis on Jan 60.
Yeah. No. Well, a little bit.
A lot of bit.
But the thing that still sticks in my mind that I guess really gets me outraged about this whole thing is like Craig's random photo of a chair being pushed over as a meme and being like January 6th. Like, that's the part that really gets me upset because it was more than a chair falling over.
To devil's advocate on the Brett Fair. Well, you said you agreed with Mitch. Tucker did go, and because he's an entertainer, he did go a little far on calling it peaceful. Yeah. Like, he was like, this is just a guided. Basically, you could call and ask them a week in advance to get the same tour that you got.
See, but that's why I'm ripping my hair out over. You know, it's like, we have to take it somewhat serious. Am I calling it 9/11? Am I calling it Pearl Harbor? No. I mean, yes, 5 people died, but it wasn't like billions of people.
Fake
died.
news. I want a disclaimer below our episode. 5 people did not die.
How many died?
I don't know.
How many people died in 9/11?
Don't know.
How many people died at Pearl Harbor?
1,000.
Exactly.
We're talking on a logarithmic. That's what I'm saying. How many people died in Black Lives Matter post George Floyd?
I don't know. Probably hundreds. I don't really know.
Yeah, like 40 to 100.
But
10 times more than you're a legend.
5, and like, I hate to quantify people's lives, obviously, but you know, like, 5 is not nothing. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, this isn't a chair being tipped over.
But it wasn't.
But it wasn't Pearl Harbor.
But what if it was? What if there was none? If there was none,
then you guys have a very good. I mean, that's the minute a person dies is the
no matter who's responsible.
Like, however you guys want to justify.
So when George Floyd died, that's justified.
Like, however you got, like, however we're gonna like argue that out in a legal court of law.
No,
and probably get
technically
like, money
what you're
over
arguing right now is that the cop Sistek.
Yeah,
he was killed during the riot, and Babich, which is a protester who was killed by the cops, is somehow a victim of Trump.
Yeah. No, but it's just like they died because of
that's like saying George Floyd's a victim.
But no one else
was
shot. Why was she shot? She didn't have a weapon.
But this wasn't like, I'm gonna hide behind a barrier and we're gonna get our guns out and start shooting at each other.
She broke the fence and when she was running and she was shot in the back.
I'm just saying
she wasn't even armed
because of the events. Okay, people died.
But they could have done it to everyone. Why was the shaman not shot down?
Yeah,
he's a white male.
Oh yeah,
sexist cops,
sexist
racist, bigot Nazis.
Again, the clip proved my argument here. Like, they were trying to de-escalate.
I gotta listen back to how that played. I don't think.
Like, do you think if they would have like put the shaman in handcuffs and tried to arrest him on the spot,
just sit him down in the corner?
But there was 100 other people around that witnessed that. You don't think they'd be upset about it? Like, they would have been like, "Oh, okay, protests over. Our leader got put in handcuffs.
You have to watch. You got to watch these videos. They
I've watched some.
They
of them.
look like people.
I've watched some of them.
I guess. And
people don't even step out of like the barriers.
So no,
do you want to play the clip again?
How I would
play the clip again?
How I would relate to it if I was there, I would not have been one of the people that were trying to break through the Red Rover line of cops. But once the gate was breached, and I'm just watching people walk in.
Yeah, I'm gonna go walk in.
I'm gonna take a little walk. I'm gonna have my phone up. I'm gonna video it. I'm gonna do a little live streaming.
But let's just say
I'm not gonna attack a cop.
But let's just say.
But once the glass is broken and I see about 500 people in there.
But let's just say that
like that's today's activity.
As you were going through the glass, you cut yourself and you get infected and you died 5 days later.
Yeah, that's not Trump's fault.
I would say it is.
What?
because
dumbass
Greg,
can't even walk through a broken door. You're suing like the hot coffee. God damn it! I tried to have a proper insurrection.
Greg, you of all people,
my hammy on
one of the most accident-prone people I know. Like you probably would have died.
Once that happened, I'd be wiping on my blood and I'd walk right back out of the building because I know I'm leaving a DNA trail.
But all I'm saying is,
but if I was drunk at 8 o'clock in the morning, thinking that Trump was somehow behind me, and I got a cop walking with me, going, "Don't go in that door."
But you just
go in that door.
But you just said it.
Stay contained.
But you just
I'm
said
just
it.
walking through
I wouldn't have been a Red Rover person, but I would have been somebody that walked in afterwards.
Yeah, the doors are open.
You died because of some freak accident.
I didn't break into McDonald's.
Your death's on the books.
I didn't break into McDonald's, but if McDonald's doesn't want to lock the window, and I walk by the McDonald's,
you died because you were part of the activity.
Oh man, do you know how many deaths there might have been from COVID from the insurrection? We could be talking hundreds.
I mean, you're going to do this apples to oranges.
It could be hundreds of deaths.
I don't want to compare events, but I want to claim the 5 deaths and go. It's a tricky line you're walking.
The other 3 they won't tell you about COVID.
No,
because
I'm going to listen to. No, it is a.
He argues my point.
I want the audience to. That's Fox. Yeah. So anyone claiming Fox is biased, that is, you're right. It's very odd listening to them back to back.
Right.
Is to actually hear one coverage going into the next. Kudos to Fox for playing both mind states. Let's get a little rapid fire here. Doug Ermhoff, the first man.
I broke the seal. I have to pee again.
No, we got to finish here. We're finish.
We're on like almost 2 hours.
What cause do you think? What cause do you think the second man?
Jesus.
The second dude. What do you think he's championing?
Who's the second dude?
Doug Ermhoff, the one making out with Joe Biden during the State of the Union.
Oh yeah, you didn't see that.
Here we go.
I didn't know if that was actually a full video, if that was just a picture.
Second gentleman changed your own view of perceived gender roles or what it means to be a man.
This is something I've thought about a lot, something I've spoken about a lot. There's too much of toxicity. It's masculine toxicity out there, and we've kind of confused
but he's trans?
What it means to be a man, what it means to be masculine. Where you've got this trope out there that you've got to be tough and angry and lash out to be strong. It's just the opposite.
So what do you think about that? You behind that?
I don't. Well, who is he?
He's the first. He's the second man, the second dude, second gentleman.
I still don't know what that means.
He's the husband of Kamala.
Oh, okay.
Instead of there's the first lady and normally the second lady,
and they have a trans daughter together.
I don't know whether it was biologically.
They have a child.
I don't want to miss anything or miss.
They have a child that changed their gender.
Very flamboyant.
At around what age?
Teenager.
Okay.
It's tough to watch.
I don't know.
Kamala Harris doesn't have any kids. These are Doug's.
Oh, these are Doug's kids.
He's just so concerned about that toxic masculinity.
Well, that's a little bit of a difference.
Do you think that's a problem? Going into 2023, you think toxic masculinity is a problem in this country?
Absolutely not.
I think there's a lack of masculinity. I don't think there's a toxic amount. I think that it's lacking.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen this with my own 2 eyes because I've done the after-school programs in middle schools.
Are they toxic?
Kind of. Because these kids, I hate to say they don't know what they're doing, but they're trying to change their gender because it's a fad. Mm-hmm. And not because they actually have these particular feelings. In my opinion, again, this is a touchy subject.
You want to stand out. This is where you own nothing and you'll be happy. How do you differentiate yourself? If you take money out of the equation and we're all equal, how do we? And you can't say someone's. Yeah. You don't want to give trophies to people who are more physically superior.
And we used to always.
How do you differentiate yourself?
We used to always hate this. You have to be 18 to buy cigarettes. You have to be 21 to buy beer, and now you have to be 21 to buy cigarettes. You know,
25 to rent a car.
We always hated the age limits on things, but like with something like changing your gender, it's like, yeah, I really do feel like you need to at least be 18, you know, to be able to make that decision, because it's just, you know, and no amount of parental consent, I feel like, should necessarily supersede that.
It should be treated like a tattoo. How is tattoos?
Parental consent under 18, you can get a tattoo under 18.
Yeah, I mean that's. I mean, at least the tattoo can be removed. I mean, like if we're gonna go,
but we're talking now
down this
students
road,
getting medical care behind their parents' back.
Yeah,
and actual schools and guidance counselors encouraging kids to get these kind of operations.
My question is any of this covered under the public health care?
What do you mean?
These surgeries and treatments for being trans. Are we paying for this?
That's the big debate.
I don't know.
I used to be,
because I'm all for like people doing whatever they want. I just don't want to be paying for it.
During my Democratic career, I was pro Medicare for all. Once I saw the vax mandates and what it meant when the government forces itself on every citizen, I'm up for a nuanced opinion on this.
I just think there's a fine line.
I don't want to mandate people's.
There's a line to be drawn between somebody wanting like a pronoun change in the classroom compared to like actually going forward with like a surgery, you know, to like change like chemical balance within your body, you know, like I don't know, like that's
how would people feel about like a high school kid getting fake tits?
That's what I don't know. Like with like the minute you actually spend dollars and cents on this, and like
like if a parent's paying for
the
fake
military,
titties, like that's wouldn't
like
that be viewed as fucked up?
If young Atlas Italiano at in middle school wants the pronouns to be changed, then it's like, okay, like we'll go through this learning process together, I guess. But then it's like, no, we're not going to have a surgery done, to like change testosterone levels or whatever. Like that's where I think
at Lisa.
Yeah, I mean that's where I like that as a parent. I was just like, no, like
Kashira.
Like if you
I would not entertain that for a second.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like if you're an adult and like you really have these like strong feelings and like we really flush them out and we think this is the only way, then okay, like I guess we have to go down that road. But I just feel like the age is a real issue here. Like you can't be doing it in middle school, like you don't know enough about your sexuality at that point, so you probably don't at 18 either. Like put this on rent a car level. You have to be 25 to be able to change your gender. Like I don't know. Like this is where things get crazy as a society. The pronouns thing I will defend.
Hershey.
Like it's just
sexist brand. Now it's a she/him. Or
I'll call people whatever they want to be called.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you want to be called a different pronoun, then I think we as a society need to respect that.
I've never met anybody in real life that
it's been happening more and more.
We had a diner
space.
Yeah.
Somebody came in and told you how to refer to them?
No, it was a boy that went in the girls' room wearing like spandex. I don't know.
We don't really.
Did he look like a boy?
I don't know.
This is the beginning of the Sunday brew.
Yeah,
it was like when I look at Alec, it's gonna be a long day.
This is gonna be
Steve was the one to go with to see him in the bathroom. He just walks out and goes, "I just took 4 laxatives."
The people who have to use the bathroom that's assigned with their gender have like a mental fuck. Like you look like a dude.
There's nothing wrong with mental illness. You can have mental illness. Well, that doesn't mean that
you're saying those people have mental illness.
Yes, I am. I'm saying
I think they have mental
confused about your gender, it's a mental illness.
Okay. Yeah.
You're not going to tell us when you must first.
That's why I keep it on silent.
But I mean, again, it's one thing would it be between
there's nothing wrong with
common courtesy and then like actual like dollars and cents. So
last couple of topics. Joe Biden fell twice this week.
Why do I have to pee so much? Did he?
Yeah. Fell twice going up the stairs. Mitch McConnell fell. He's currently in the hospital. And Fetterman.
How about we just wrap this up? Because we got 2 episodes worth right here.
I would like to do but I think TikTok's going to get banned. Can I just I want to get that prediction on record.
I think it's going to get banned too.
It's going to be banned.
I think it's going to get banned.